This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
70,000 people are here, and Bob Dylan is the reason for it.
Inspired by the true story.
If anyone is going to hold your attention on a stage, you have to kind of be a freak.
Are you a freak?
Hope so.
And starring Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He defied everyone.
Turn it down!
Play loud!
To change everything.
Make some noise, BD.
Timothy Chalamet, Edward Norton, Elle Fanning, Monica Barbaro. A complete unknown. Only in theaters Christmas Day. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. I am one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am the other one of your hosts, Honeybee.
Honeybee and I are two best friends making our way through the history of kaiju movies. We started in 1933 with King Kong, and today we are in 2012 with Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader. Honeybee, thoughts, feelings?
Oh, God. Oh, man. I have so many thoughts and none at all at the same time, if you know what I mean, which I feel like if
Yeah.
you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie was written by a teenage boy.
It was written by Mike McLean. I'm not sure how old he was when he wrote it.
I'm gonna guess like 12 to 14.
It was produced by Roger Corman, which should be a surprise to no one, and was his first 3D film, which you can't watch it in 3D now. It's streaming on Pluto and Tubi and a bunch of other places. It's very, very free. But if you do watch it, you should bear in mind that it was originally in 3D.
Yes.
There's just a couple of scenes where they really highlight that. This movie was both better and worse than I expected. I was aware of it for a long time. And I think I may have even watched the first scene a few times, planning to watch it and not getting very far.
This movie reminds me of like maybe a movie that like one of my uncles would be watching, and then my mom would be like, no, you're not allowed to watch that. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
what? Why? It looks so good.
Yeah,
And then now growing up, I'm like, oh, okay.
Because of the boobs and the objectification and the yeah, the movie, it actually had more nudity than I was expecting.
Yeah.
But there's a movie coming up on our list. I'm not sure how far down it is. Let me see. Let me just get Attack of the 50-Foot Cam Girl, which is another one that I started watching and haven't finished. I'm just gonna have to make myself. But from what little I have seen of that one had less nudity than I was expecting from the title. And this one has more than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot of cheerleader stuff, but not so much actual toplessness. But so it's that kind of movie. It's Roger Corman. I mean, but my first note, I was shocked. My first note is OMG! Exclamation point. Treat Williams and Ted Raimi, 3 more exclamation points. And that's followed up by Sean Young, exclamation point, and John Landis, exclamation point, question mark. So with that, let's get to our cast. Well, first I'll say we already mentioned it's the writer and producer. Directed by Kevin O'Neill. It's distributed by Epix. So this had like just a couple of days or a premiere in a theater, but then it went to the Epix channel. It's 90
Yeah.
minutes. The budget was $1 million, but because it was basically made for a channel that has boobies on it, there's no box office. And the cast is Jenna Sims as Cassie Stratford, Sean Young as Brenda Stratford, Treat Williams as Mr. Gray, Sasha Jackson as Jet, Olivia Alexander as Brittany Andrews, Ryan Merriman as Kyle, Ted Raimi as Dr. Higgs, Anne McDaniels as Tiff, Mary Woronov as House Mother, Paula Tricky as ex-cheerleader, AJ Lamas as Brandon, Brent Huff as announcer. Okay, I noticed that announcer. John Landis as Professor White, Roger Corman as Dean Hinkle, and Ariana Maddox as Pledge Number 2. There was more than 2 pledges, but I guess the others don't get a credit. They're probably listed in the film itself, but not here on Wikipedia. Folks, if you're unaware, Treat Williams is a real actor who's been in real movies and real TV shows and was giving it 110% in this movie. Seemed to be enjoying himself. And Ted Raimi, brother of director Sam Raimi, best known for Joxer the Mighty on Xena and Hercules. And I fucking love Ted Raimi. Actually met him once. Very nice guy. He's got something coming out, or just came out, that I want to see that looks good. Anyway, I wasn't expecting to see anybody that I recognized in this movie. And then Sean Young as well used to be big. She's not so big anymore, but because she's doing Roger Corman movies. So yeah, I was surprised that there was anybody that anyone had ever heard of in this movie, which is the part that was better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And the effects were perfectly fine. I mean, it's a 50-foot woman. There's not a whole lot that has to be done there.
Right.
2 50-foot women at one point, and then 75-foot, 100-foot towards the end.
Yeah.
Judas Priest. Okay. I guess we'll get into the plot.
Well, I will say all of the things that don't make sense in this movie don't really matter because it's all very corny. Like, not the movie itself, but just the acting and things. So, like,
Yeah.
the little things that don't really make sense, you're like, yeah, well, that's because we're just here for tits, you know?
Yeah. Although there is a lot of toplessness, it's not nonstop. So
Right.
that's not, they're trying to make a 50-foot woman movie as well. So, it didn't go all the way in either direction, which is typical. It's typical Roger Corman, that he's going to have some piranhas eating shit up or whatever, but there's going to be a few boobs on the way.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, you get that in old slasher movies too. We're here for the slashing, but there's got to be every 20 minutes, there's got to be some boobs.
Acting might be a little bit better in like a slasher movie because
yes,
boobs isn't the main focus, whereas this one, it's very much like
because she's a cheerleader. It definitely, because even when they're not exposed, they're still on display.
Yeah, and
emphasized.
It's very 2012 as far as like the way we're portraying women and how like our beauty standards are very different now compared to 2012. And I don't know, it was just very interesting to see this movie and kind of like go back to my, I don't know, middle school ideals of what was acceptable and what's not.
I mean, it's doing this weird thing of being exploitive and but trying to be empowering at the same time.
Oh, and something else that this movie does that was very popular, I feel like, in the like 90s and early aughts is Here's this nerdy girl who wears glasses who isn't pretty. Oh, she took her glasses off? She's so hot.
Yeah. Oh well, that goes way back. That's been a thing in movies forever. Yeah, well, I'll get to that. Okay, here's the plot from Wikipedia. Cassie Stratford is a plain science nerd whose mother was captain of the cheer squad at Iron Coast University, the initials of which are ICU, which I thought was funny. That's one of my other notes. ICU lol is my note. And president of Zeta Mu sorority. So she is pressured to join both cheerleading and the sorority. However, Brittany Andrews, current Zeta president and cheer captain, rejects her. So I think it starts with the cheerleading tryouts. Brittany is terrible. I also wrote Brittany looks 30. Also, Tiff. I actually ended up looking her up, and she was 24 at the time this was made. So actually not an unreasonable age for a college senior, but at least in the early scenes, she was looking too old to be in college, I thought.
Well, I felt bad for the actress who played Brittany because she had to have not had a voice at the end of this filming.
Oh yeah, screaming nonstop. She
screams through the entire fucking movie. I also want to say how horrible the mother is. God,
yeah. Sean Young's
awful.
the mother. Sean Young's playing the mother. Apparently, Roger Corman thought she was miscast because he thought she looked too good. Didn't look old enough to be the mother. So that was like a compliment to say you're miscast because you're too hot to be the mom.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Cassie works in the biology building of the university where she and her friend Kyle are working on a drug that turns things beautiful. So, yeah, this is the thing I wanted to say. So, Cassie, she's got her hair's pulled back. She's wearing glasses, but she's got just a little tiny bit of acne.
They put two spots.
Yes,
maybe.
they put 2 spots on her that are obviously makeup to make her look so-called ugly. Whereas in real life, if she gave a shit, she would just put some makeup on, and nobody would care.
Yeah.
And I also notice in a lot of these movies that, the so-called hot person, when they do a close-up, they've got some blemishes and they've put makeup on them, which is worse these days with HD TV. So she's a perfectly reasonable looking person, perfectly attractive. She just is a science nerd and doesn't care about such things. But if she did and put the slightest bit of effort, even the way she is with her 2 blemishes, there's still going to be people who are going to ask her out and be interested. It's just not believable. Not at all believable. So yeah, but they've made a mild effort to make her seem unattractive. In the night, Cassie steals the drug. So this is the thing. She goes to the trouble of stealing this drug and injecting herself when she could have just bought some makeup and combed her hair.
Yeah.
So she does care. She cares enough to commit a crime. Cassie steals the drug and injects herself with it. While she does become beautiful and makes the cheer squad when one of the cheerleaders is injured, she then discovers the drug has a side effect when she starts to grow taller and taller until she is a giantess.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs fragrances this holiday season. From the iconic Daisy and Perfect to the all-new Daisy Wild, Marc Jacobs perfume gift sets include everything she needs to feel special. From her favorite fragrance, plus the matching travel spray, holiday gifts don't get much more perfect than this. So if you're looking for a gift inspiration these holidays, gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs.
Which isn't the drug, like we kind of see this little scene where the drug is made or like being experimented for like plastic surgery or something, like boobs or something. Or the guy like screams about turkey neck or at one point.
Yeah, I think it's just meant to. It's what it's supposed to do is reactivate the body's ability to replace cells, which we start to lose at a certain point. I think it's supposed to enhance that or whatever. So yes, Treat Williams is complaining about his private pharmaceutical company is funding this college research, apparently, and he wants to use it for cosmetic purposes, getting rid of turkey neck. He also wants to know, does it make boobs bigger? Can it make boobs bigger? And they kind of hem and haw a little bit, and then Ted Raimi's like, yes, it can make boobs bigger. Because that's all he cares about. He doesn't care about any actual medical use or breakthroughs for science. Just, can it make boobs bigger? But before she turns into a giantess, some of the chemical, when she's injecting it, a little bit of it spills and a little spider comes along and drinks it or steps on it or whatever.
Laps it right up.
Yeah. I wrote pirate at the Greek party. So the sorority is having like a toga party, a Greek party, and she shows up and does the slow motion moving her hair stuff, and everybody's like, bong, ooga. But my note was pirate at the Greek party. I was very confused until we keep seeing the pirate, and I realized, oh, he's the mascot for the school. That's why he's at the Greek party, because they're making the pledges do all this ridiculous challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
And the pirate seems to be overseeing it. Why? I don't know. Well, I mean, because he's the school mascot and he wants to hang out with a bunch of hot babes, I guess. But it doesn't seem like his job to be running the sorority challenges. There was a canine challenge. Oh, they also use, so I don't know if you realized what was happening here. A couple of times when she jumps up real high in slow motion, they do this sound effect. Did you recognize that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so in 2012, it's still a pretty old reference. This is the Bionic Man, the $6 million man and Bionic Woman sound effect. This on those TV shows, whenever they were using their bionic powers to jump high or run fast, they would actually switch to slow motion and play this sound effect, which I guess was meant to be the machinery working of their cybernetic limbs. But when we were kids, those shows were new on the air when I was a kid, and we used to make those sound effects all the time when we were running around or jumping and stuff. And yes, they've used the exact sound effect in this 2012 movie for referencing this 1970s TV show.
Oh man, what a good set.
So, there you go. And then there's a spider attack, and somebody calls it Gibungus. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's what you heard.
Yeah, she does say Gibungus.
Gibungus, okay, which I found kind of amusing.
Which I did like the spider attack in the bathroom when it attacks the girl who's taking a shower, which is another nice moment that we get of some boobs.
You're right.
But I'd liked the giant spider. Was not expecting it, that's for sure. But I did think when it first happened that the spider, like I was like, oh, okay, because she has to fight something. But it turns out it wasn't the spider that she had to fight.
Right. So, well, she does fight the spider at one point.
Well, she smushes it. I don't know if they
Yeah,
really
she does.
fight.
Yeah. At some point, she hooks up with Brittany's ex-boyfriend, on and off boyfriend, and when she's confronted, I have a note here. Brittany's being abusive, and Cassie confronts her, and this guy yells out, "That's what I'm talking about!" And I was like, "Are you? Is this something you've been talking about?" Or this is right before the spider attack. Yeah, she's been growing a little bit. She doesn't turn into a. She's become a bit of a sensation, a celebrity. She gets to be like 8 feet and then 10 feet. And so she's still doing cheerleader stuff, but she's just towering over everybody, but not so much that she can't, function. And that's when this guy gets interested in her, and she's getting all the attention and she's winning all the competitions. And that's when she threatens Brittany, because she's physically larger than her and can push around if she needs to. So when she fights the spider, I think she's only about 10 feet tall.
Yeah, she also, to fight the spider, she pulls a stop sign out of the ground and smushes it.
Yeah.
Like it's a fly swatter.
Yeah. And I seem to recall that stuff looking pretty good. Not the maybe not
good.
the certainly not the worst spider we've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
Or CGI monster in general. So yeah, she hooks up with this guy when she's bigger than him but still small enough to have relations.
Do they hook up?
I think so. Isn't she like sitting on top of him at some point?
She's sitting on top of him, but not because they're hooking up. He gets like
she's saving from the spider. No,
yeah,
I think
because all of the hookup scenes are which we get a few of those as well. They're so like over the top, horny, like like herbal essence commercial level enthusiasm.
Loud. I mean, loud. They're quite loud. Well, it's because they can't show too much, so they got to make it loud, I guess.
Yeah, but it's just so fake.
Yeah. I also have a note here that Kyle is the guy that she's working with in the lab. Has a missed opportunity here, because at one point she says something about, now that I'm finally pretty or something. I think this is after she turned giant. Anyway, Kyle should have told her, you were pretty all along, and he would have gotten good with her. Instead, he's just like, yeah, I know it's a bummer being a giant, but we're working on it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I know it's a bummer being a giant and ugly, but now look at you.
Yeah. So, because it kind of seemed like there was, potentially something between them, but he was too shy or some shit. So I'm like, dude, you totally missed your chance, a moment there. So let's see here. I'm going back to the summary. Brittany discovers that she's become a giantess and tries to seduce Kyle into telling her the secret, which leads her to being accidentally injected with more of the drug than Cassie and also growing into a giantess. Yes, Kyle's holding 2 syringes in his hands, and she grabs him and ends up getting stabbed in both boobs, getting a double dose.
And screaming her head off, which she has been doing the entire movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, at one point she's too big for clothes and is hiding in the swimming pool. And they're talking, and Treat Williams wants to exploit this. Ted Raimi and Kyle are kind of trying to help. At one point, she says something about the drug having altered her hypothesis. I think she means her hypothalamus. She's talking about her glands. And I believe the hypothalamus is responsible for growth, but she says altered my hypothesis. I'm like, no, it didn't. That is a science word, but I don't think it's the science word you're looking for. And who said my aorta? Ted Raimi. He gets scared or startled by her. He didn't realize how big she'd gotten, and he gets startled by her and says, "My aorta just crapped its pants." What a bizarre line. And then they steal. There's some giant cheerleader balloons outside of the stadium, and they steal the clothes off of the balloon to give to Cassie, because the clothes are not just part of the balloon, they're put on the balloon.
Yeah, so when they take the clothes off, they look like just giant blow-up dolls.
Yes. Jesus. So yeah, I thought that was a little weird that, giant cheerleader balloons. But the thing is, she has to be a 50-foot cheerleader, so they have to put her in a cheerleader outfit. They can't just get a tarp or a canvas or something, a sail from a ship. They have to have a cheerleading outfit to put her in, or else our title is meaningless. And then Treat Williams just tries to kidnap her. And I wrote, you can't just kidnap a woman because she's 50 foot. He shows up with his mercenaries and he's like, you're coming with me to do corporate shit, whether you like it or not. And he's just shooting her with a giant taser bazooka. I'm like, this is not at all legal.
I do love that he, in order to blend in, he paints all of his mercenaries' face with the school colors and acts like but they all just have straight face bodyguard energy. None of them are actually trying to blend in. They're just
they're wearing black outfits. They've got their guns, but they have the team face paint on. Because this is all going down before the big homecoming game, I think. Also, plastic chains. They chain her up at one point, and the chains are clearly plastic prop chains. I also wrote, we never see either of the giantess actually holding a person.
No, but I will say we do see them hold cans. Yes. At one point, and the cans are their size, which was oopsie.
Oh, no. The can was supposed to be a keg. It was supposed to be a keg of beer was can size for her.
Oh, I thought there was 2 points where once when they're drinking something and it's it's her size.
She picks up a trash can. Yeah, she picks up a trash can at one point, which is also about that size. And when she takes a drink, though, she's drinking an entire keg. It's still probably not proper scale. It should actually maybe be smaller than a can. But they were doing a thing there. So there's a couple of 3D parts where if it's 3D, like when her breasts are getting bigger and popping out of her sweater, but also early on when she's first coming to the sorority, there's a pillow fight. And as in many movie pillow fights, they're using very cheap pillows that burst and spread feathers everywhere. So I was particularly noticing this because I was like, oh yeah, this was 3D. So all these feathers floating in front of the girls would look very 3D. It would have been a good looking effect. With the feathers. And then there's a couple times when she's reaching for someone, she reaches right towards the camera. And I think when the syringes were sticking out of Brittany's breasts, those would have been coming right at the camera too. So, but I think they didn't want to deal with either bad blue screen or having her hold a doll. So anytime she reaches for a person, we don't actually see her pick up the person. Like she picks up Treat Williams and hangs him from a light post or something, but we just see him hanging from the post. We don't see her put him up there, because I think they knew this is going to look like shit, so let's just not show it. And that was probably the right choice. If you can't make it look good, then just don't do it. So the announcer, I mentioned the announcer earlier, he's mentioning something about taking your ticket stub to someplace to get a free soda purchase. This is just a free soda after the game. And I noticed him saying that because it comes up here in a minute. So let's see. Brittany enters the stadium. Let's see. Brittany gets injected and starts growing and makes her way to the stadium. Brittany enters the stadium where Cassie confronts Brittany, which leads to a cat fight. And of course, they both get their tops ripped off. And the announcer is commenting on this fight the whole time. And at one point, while he's commenting, he says, and don't forget to take your tickets to buy whatever the restaurant is to get those free sodas after the game. And that was just one of the, I thought that was funny. And also one of the things that made this movie a little better than I expected. There was some funny stuff in it. Cassie wins the fight by injecting Brittany with a drug overdose. Okay, but first, because Brittany got 2 syringes during the fight, so it took Cassie a few days to get this tall. It takes Brittany just an hour maybe, and then during the fight starts growing even more. But Cassie injects Brittany with a drug overdose of the antidote before knocking her out. Kyle then injects Cassie with the antidote, and she is returned to normal. While Cassie and Kyle kiss, Brittany is shrunken to dwarf size due to the overdose and is made fun of by her fellow cheerleading squad. Because they're like, Brittany, stand up. And she says, I am standing up. Which used to be Davy Jones's joke back in the Monkees. Taking it back to last week's movie. Talking about the Monkees. No, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. So,
oh man.
What did you think of Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader?
I laughed, I guess. I rolled my eyes a lot. I had fun watching it, but I don't recommend it, and I didn't really enjoy it. I recommend it for a specific audience, and like I said, that's like, your weird uncle at Christmas.
Right.
But I just, I don't know. It's very like women are portrayed a certain way, and while that can be entertaining and funny, I feel like we've come a long way from that, maybe. I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it. I don't think it was just like fantastic. Obviously, it was just very fun and campy, and I did laugh, but I mostly rolled my eyes and was annoyed, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it is also a typical 50-foot person, 50-foot woman movie in that she starts out very very mousy and with no self-confidence, and then gains confidence as she gets larger. I think this is the first time our woman gets returned to normal at the end, though.
Oh, that's true.
So that's a little bit different. But presumably she's learned a life lesson from her experience and will have more confidence and assert herself. I noticed her acne did not come back when she shrunk, so I guess she gets to keep the benefits of her crime without... and I guess she's cute enough for Kyle now. Because he never did say, I always thought you were pretty.
Yeah, I
So
just feel like this movie isn't like really made for like kaiju, the kaiju genre. You know, like I said,
no,
everything that doesn't make sense in it is because it's like this is so we can watch a bunch of girls jump around
yes,
in their, matching underwear that all girls wear all the time, and they're all this one particular size,
yeah,
and that, so, it's just like it was made for entertainment purposes only, for the male gaze, and
yes.
we got those
I'm
sometimes,
pretty.
so
I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of the Epics channel was about.
yeah, for sure.
It's. I don't think it exists anymore. Oh well, it's now MGM Plus.
Okay.
It was, so that's a whole different vibe. MGM Plus seems like more classic movies and stuff. Um, I don't remember. I don't think I had Epics back then. I don't have MGM Plus now.
Something
So,
also that we didn't mention was her like cool alternative friend who tried to
oh,
stick a cucumber up a dude's ass.
right. Yeah. Well,
She was
without
gonna lube it up first, but
I know, but she didn't. She didn't clear that with him beforehand. So he was. Who was that? Was that Jet?
I don't fucking know.
Yes, her roommate before she joins a sorority is a little bit punky and very sex positive, but also a little bit dated in that, yeah, she wants to put the cucumber up his butt, but has not had a discussion with him ahead of time on whether or not that's okay. So he's very upset about this, and I think there's a little bit of gay panic going on there too, which is also, uh, you know, 2000
Sign of the times.
still going on in 2012. um so even though I didn't like her, she was also problematic because it's 2012.
Yeah, I thought
So
I liked that she was a good friend, and she like was painting her nails, like her toenails
yeah,
with the like paintbrush.
paintbrush. Yeah,
And she
yeah,
like brought her all the pizza and then was gonna go get her 20 gallons of ice cream and
yeah, yeah. And she just was gave a good performance and looked attractive in a different way than everybody else.
right.
Yeah, I had forgotten about her. I did enjoy her. So there you go. Well, what are you gonna rate Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader?
Oh man, I think I'm gonna rate it. I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars, even though it was entertaining. I just not really the kind of movie that I strive for, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a qualified 3. In that 3 means it was okay. I partly just because Treat Williams and Ted Raimi were in it, and that was I always like seeing Ted Raimi. The whole thing was just better than I had expected. I thought it was going to
Definitely
be
better quality, yeah.
I thought the performances and effects were all going to be much, much worse than they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
for sure.
I think it was okay. It's not actually a good movie, but it was okay. So yeah, that's 3 stars from me. Yeah, if you actually care, folks, it's like I said, it's on Tubi, it's on Pluto, it's on Sling and Plex. You might have to watch commercials. I can't remember now if there were commercials.
I watched it on Tubi, I believe, and there were commercials. Very
Yeah.
few, but a little bit.
Yeah, there's some Tubi and Pluto usually have commercials, but some things have more than others. Oh yeah, no, it did. It was like commercial break in 5, 4,
Yeah.
3.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually put them in good. Some of them are better at timing the commercial breaks than others. And the commercial breaks seem to come in reasonable, logical places, between scenes instead of in the middle of someone's sentence. All right. So there you go, folks. Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader. If you enjoy the show, please rate and review, like, and subscribe, and consider supporting us on Patreon. We're going to do a Christmas special. We'll release that on Christmas Day, but before that should be next week's episode, Grabbers. Where's Grabbers? Grabbers is streaming free with ads on YouTube. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for listening. Until next time, I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey Bee.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please don't misuse science.
Once again, misused in this movie. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.